Unfortunately, James bought the wrong seeds. We ended up with 500 gallons of, and there's no other way of saying this, diesel. 500 gallons of hemorrhoid cream would have been more useful, honestly.
We hate diesel, so we decided to burn it. Even though the three of us have no racing experience, we entered the BritCar 24-hour race at Silverstone with a diesel car.
Don't laugh, because, well, although the idea of us three racing is clearly preposterous, the idea of a diesel isn't. Because this year, Audi won the Le Mans 24-hour race in a diesel car, and largely because it didn't have to waste so much time in the pits refuelling.
All we needed was a car, so we got one. And then, while James was moonlighting on his wine programme, Jeremy and I went down to the Top Gear Technology Centre.
Here it is, the crucible of all our great inventions.
This is the car we bought. It's a BMW 330d, 4 years old, done 45,000 miles. We paid 11 grand for it. And now we must turn it into a racing car by bolting lots of racing car bits to it.
The director of the Top Gear Technology Centre, Steve, would do all the trivial jobs, like the brakes, the engine, the suspension and the electronics, while we did the big stuff. I had to do the race seat. Jeremy, meanwhile, had to install a long-range fuel tank.
Got a hammer?
With that not done, I checked on Hammond.
Yes! The office. That feels businesslike.
Hammond,
What?
do you understand endurance racing?
Yeah.
24-hour race, 3 drivers. Do you want to hop out? So let's just say you do the first stint. Here's the driver change. You get out, the car's been refueled.
We'll get in.
It's my turn to get in.
It will be a bit of a squeeze for you. I grant you, it will be a bit of a
won't
squeeze.
be a bit of a squeeze, mate. It will be...
There you go. You're in!
All the other cars, those are the noises of them. Meanwhile, back in the Top Gear pit, Jeremy, you'd have to get a saw.
Well, yeah. Right, I'll put the seat on runners so it'll be more boring.
Next, we needed a drinks delivery system. Most rubbish, so I made ours battery-powered.
OK, so when you want a drink, which you will, you put that in your mouth, OK? Squeeze, 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 squeeze.
Squeezing it!
Does that work?
No, it's not brilliant, if I'm honest.
Oh.
Yeah, it's flawed.
To make it look like a racing car, we needed sponsors' names. But sadly, because of BBC rules, we couldn't get real ones, so we just sort of made some up.
Look at that! That was a racing car already!
It looks like a race. It needed that, didn't it?
With the car almost ready, our thoughts turned to the race itself.
You know, I said, how hard can it be when we started this?
Yes.
If I'm honest, I think it's going to be really hard.
I'm quite glad you said that, because it's crossed my mind. I'm getting a bit nervous. I don't want to win, but I want people to take us seriously.
Yeah, I just think we're going to look ridiculous.
We arrived at Silverstone assuming the BritCar 24 would be an amateur event for beginners like us. We were badly wrong. In fact, our diesel Beamer would be up against 200-mile-an-hour supercars. The other drivers were chisel-jawed and battle-hardened. They had blue-chip sponsors, tons of equipment. They turned up with laptops and luxury motorhomes with girls in them. Our motorhome wasn't quite as professional as that, nor was our catering, nor was our car. In fact, nothing was. And then there was the question of us three.
You do realise we are the only people in this field, the only people with one of these on the back.
I did need to ask, what is it?
That means novice. Everybody else has done at least 6 races.
Worse still, Richard had never been round Silverstone.
the sum total of our experience is you've done...
I've done a charity race in a Honda
And
Civic.
you've done 5 laps.
5 laps in this.
You've done no racing at all. You've done some laps, but not in this.
Yeah.
I've done a race in a 2CV. I've never driven this, and I've never ever been round Silver. We're not in good shape.
A walk down the pits didn't exactly cheer us up either.
We haven't done that.
No, we haven't got that.
We haven't got this.
We haven't got that.
No, we haven't got that. We haven't got these. We haven't got these. we
Is
haven't
this
got
a
that.
diesel?
Yeah, no.
What is it, an M3? So this is an M3 BMW with a...
It's a lot better than ours.
Is it a diesel?
No, it's a bit quicker.
M3.
Sorry.
You're in an M3. Please be nice to us.
No.
How can we get out of it?
I'm seriously thinking of sitting down just before the race and drinking a bottle of vodka.
Soon, though, it was time for qualifying.
What if I have to get out of somebody's way to let them go by?
I don't know. I don't know.
This is, without any question or shadow of doubt, the scariest thing I've ever done.
Yes.
I've broken his hip.
That's bad.
For qualifying, we had to do a minimum of 3 laps each, and the quickest time from our team would decide our place on the starting grid. I went first.
Back through bridge, don't lift, don't lift, don't lift, don't lift, don't lift! I've got another M3 coming up behind me. He's ruining my bloody lap, what an absolute... He ruined my lap, the lap's gone.
Maybe Captain Slow would have better luck.
Oh my God! 911's everywhere! Don't be intimidated, just keep going.
May was back astonishingly quickly. In fact, too quickly.
Well, you haven't done a fast lap.
Yeah, I just did a fast lap.
You can't do it in 2.
I'm sure I did.
You didn't. How could you not count?
Hammond, meanwhile, had no idea where he was going.
This is Maggot, or Beckett, or Vale, or Chapman.
We'd planned to leave Richard out there so he could learn the track, but now we had to get him in so James could go back out.
As cock-ups go, I've watched Formula One since I was starting. I've never seen anybody ever forget to do a flying lap.
Qualifying was turning into a shambles, and when we tuned into the circuit TV, that went wrong as well.
There's a chest of drawers on the table!
We were a laughing stock, but we still had an ace up our sleeves, a 4th driver.
Yeah, they weren't ready for that!
Can it do 24 hours straight?
With the Stig at the wheel, we were in business.
2:24. We're not bottom! Boston Bowl. Let's go down there and mop.
Sadly, we couldn't. Because this was a 24-hour race, we also had to do 3 practice laps at night.
Fears come back badly.
And my fears come back hideously.
Yeah, really terrible.
It's looking at you, it's making me more scared.
I went first, and it turned out my fears were justified.
People are trying to get round with there's lights everywhere. Jeez, and when? I don't remember anything.
This really is all you can see. You have to aim for corners and just sort of hope they're still there. It's terrifying.
I've got nobody to follow. Oh, God.
Then it was Jeremy's turn.
Holy cow, I can't see a thing!
He tried to cure the lack of visibility with speed.
I just took Bridge Corner flat, first time out. Oh, I'm off! People behind must be thinking, who is this clown?
Amazingly, the Stig went faster at night than he had in the day and put us an astonishing 42nd on the grid.
Yeah!
First rate!
Yeah! Don't touch him.
With James's qualifying in the bag, everything looked good for the race. But then...
James, it's Richard. What's happened? Tell us.
The throttle went mad, gearbox seemed to explode, everything. Hang on, I'm coming in.
We now had a good starting spot on the grid, but nothing to start with. Our £11,000 Retmobile was in serious trouble.
That's made a mess of them.
Our race chief reckoned we'd blown the turbo, the clutch, and the flywheel.
But we never quit. Top Gear Technology Centre, innit?
While Steve set about the car, we set about our high-energy supper.
I'm not worried that it's not going to be fixed. The only worry I have is that if Steve has to work through the night tonight to fix it, when we do the race tomorrow, he has to work through tomorrow night.
It's a 3-day. Yeah.
I'm not bothered about that either, I've now come to think of it.
We entered a 24-hour race at Silverstone, and thanks to the Stig, we qualified 42nd out of 59 starters. But there were a few problems. We had no racing experience, I'd never even driven round Silverstone, and we were using a second-hand diesel BMW that we'd turned into a racing car ourselves.
And at the end of the qualifying session, it was all badly broken. Still, we were confident that it would be fixed and ready for the off.
So, race day. The crowds were flocking in, and we were summoned to the driver's briefing.
Stop will be supervised, and then you will be released.
The Stig, however, found this a bit dreary.
On the way to the penalty box or leaving the penalty box. Neither can you stop in the refuelling area on your way to the penalty box. If you need to go to your pit or you need to go and refuel...
Afterwards, there was a half-hour shakedown session. Now, we hoped that after a whole night in the workshop, our car would be fixed so Hammond could get out there and learn the track. But it was not to be.
We've just discovered, having replaced the turbo, the inlet manifold, the clutch and the flywheel all last night, is that now there's diesel in the sump, which is what, a pump or the injectors?
We don't know yet.
It turned out to be the fuel pump, which was a bit embarrassing for us three.
What they're saying is that our Farm Fresh Morning Dew diesel has got too much methanol in it, which is eating the fuel seals and fuel's getting out. So how long is it going to take to fix the fuel pump? It's not 5 minutes, presumably.
In theory, to do the job in a workshop, it's a 6-hour job. So...
No, 6 hours takes us till... We missed the race.
We think with a bit of work in it. We've got some guys picking up some special tools now. Probably do about 2.5.
Well, where are they?
Milton Keynes, our place, Milton Keynes.
We haven't gone down to Milton Keynes to pick them up.
There's a man on the way there now.
You're talking about it's impossible to have this car running until 3:15, and we have to be on the grid at 4 o'clock, 5 to 4.
5 to 4, yeah.
And if we're not there, we have to start from the pit lane.
Yeah.
So, if the man didn't get back from Milton Keynes in time, we wouldn't be starting in 42nd place. We'd be starting from the pit lane in 59th place, at the back. Still, we had to be optimistic, so we met to decide who'd drive first.
The fact of the matter is this. At the beginning of the race, it's really jammed up. You're going to get wedged in, you can be caught up in other people's accidents. It's a waste of time putting him out, because if he goes out first, he's just going to get held back. So when it all strings out later in the 24 hours, you put him out.
Let's, OK, go with your theory.
So which one of us three goes first?
So in that case, it should be me.
Yes, except you're on cold tyres. It just literally, it's like driving on ice. Well, it's not you, because you're a car breaker. You have an aggressive driving style.
Hang on, when it comes to aggression, it's on... Let's look at any of your power tests.
Yeah.
What? Well, you're not exactly gentle on them, are you?
This was hopeless, so we used a more scientific method.
We've got to decide which one of us drives first. Stig! Stig?
With 2 hours to go, the other teams were pretty much ready. Us, however?
Whatever you do, don't go downstairs and look at the car. It's got no front end, no lights, no radiator, no bumper, no splitter, no front of the engine, no bonnet. That fuel pump thing
is right in the bowels of the thing. They've got the whole front off. I'm trying to think what it's like trying to repair something in France from this end of the Channel Tunnel.
James will be exaggerating. James isn't exaggerating. And it's leaking. I watch Formula One a lot, and I've never, in the whole time I've watched it, seen a Formula One car 2 hours before a race looking like that.
With an hour to go, finally, some good news.
Excellent.
Fuel pump is on. See, watch this. Ready? Pop it in, and away he goes. Now he'll have the engine fixed in no time.
It's easy now. I don't want that back, thanks, Steve. It's fine. You can keep it.
We were cheering up. But honestly, our second-hand Repmobile was beginning to look like classic Top Gear. Ambitious, but rubbish. And so it turned out to be. Steve's team had done the fastest rebuild in history, but it wasn't fast enough. As the other cars lined up on the grid, ours was still in the garage.
We missed it. We never made it.
Now, we'd have to start from the back, and if we couldn't get it started in 30 minutes, we wouldn't be starting at all. Just 20 minutes to go, our super green eco car finally coughed into life.
Nobody's going to overtake us with this coming out of that.
But then...
Well, it's only running on 5 cylinders. Injector 6 isn't working. That could be a simple fix. It might be horrible.
So how long have we got?
3 minutes.
They're on their parade lap.
When they came back round again, the flag would drop and the race would start. We had just over 2 minutes.
They're going to be back.
Stig's in. Stig's getting in. Stig's getting in.
The Stig had to be at the end of the pit lane before the last car crossed the line. I had never felt tension like it.
Come on, come on, come on. They're past Stowe.
Shit, that's it.
That's it, we're in the race.
I cannot believe that. Bearing in mind, no test on that car at all.
Nope.
It's out there now for 24 hours.
Yep.
It looked a bit smoky, but it had the Stig at the wheel, and this is what he does best. Type R's, Porsches, M3s, despite his diesel engine, he had the lot.
Have you seen his time? He's just done a 2:17. No, I'm sorry, 2:16. He's just taken another second off it.
How many people he's faster than already?
Look, all this is
Every
quicker than...
single one he's faster than. Stig is now 13 seconds a lap quicker than the next diesel.
Is that having started in 59th place, we are now in 39th place. So he's made up 20 places in
1 hour and 20 minutes.
nearly...
But my worry is now that we're going too hard on it.
Over the next 20 minutes, the Stig climbed another 2 places, but then James's negative waves hit home. And hit hard.
That's not a good sign.
Did it fill with smoke? Did it lose power?
Racing in breath.
It would help, of course, if we could talk to the driver and find out what actually happened out there, but It's just stopped working, like a TV on standby.
We needed a tiny piece for the fuel injection system, and predictably we didn't have it. But mysteriously, 10 minutes later, we did.
This is it. Somebody in the car park's going home on 5 cylinders.
The breakdown had cost us half an hour, and because the Stig had got out of the car, the rules said he couldn't get back in again until someone else had had a go. That meant he'd only done half his 3-hour stint.
We've lost an hour and a half of Stig racing time.
Yeah, I agree. That's a shame, but let's get on with it.
The Christian motorist was now in the hot seat.
Absolutely everything going past, but never mind.
Really desperate for a wee now.
Oh, man, I'm struggling.
I didn't know it would take you this long for it to get round.
Thank you, doing the best.
2:30 is not bad. Come on, that's steady.
No,
That's what the good guys are
nice
doing.
guy.
A few minutes later, though, something amazing happened.
I've overtaken someone!
Don't need to get all daft and giddy, okay? You just did a 2:24.
I'm loving this.
Things were going well. James wasn't quite as slow as expected. And unlike the petrol cars, which needed a 5-minute fuel stop every hour, our tank would last 3 times that. As night began to fall, the sheer effort required for endurance racing began to tell. James was tired out too. His lap times were tumbling.
Normally, I'd be on the phone to him now, being fatuous and stupid and telling him he's catching slow and he's got to hurry up. But honestly, the absolute last thing you want is anyone clowning around on your headphones, on your radio. There's so much to think about. You know, where's the corner? Where's the other car? What gear should I be in? When do I brake? I can't think about being a TV presenter. You can't think about anything.
90 minutes into his stint, the inevitable happened.
Bollocks, sorry, I'm off.
Even though the car was good for another 90 minutes, we had to rest James.
How slippery are new tyres?
Raining awful.
Really?
Honestly, yeah, it's just...
Good luck, mate.
Please God, don't let me mess this up.
My nerves calmed as I realised that Steve, builder's crack or not, knew what he was doing.
Steve, you built one hell of a car here! It's so utterly joyous and lovely to drive. And it's already got a personality now of just having made the start and... Whoa! God, we're good under brakes.
They didn't have much straight-line speed, but through the corners it was astonishing. I even went on the offensive.
I'm coming up behind those Italians in the 1 Series. Look at this, neck and nose come across my nose. We saved you from the Germans, and that's what I get.
Don't wreck the car.
As the night wore on, other cars were breaking down, but the little BMW pounded on.
Thanks, mate.
And when I finished my stint, we were up to 37th place.
What a truly fantastic way of spending an evening.
As my first ever racing lap of Silverstone would be in the dark, I couldn't say the same.
No, that's Maggott and Beckett. This is now opening down to Abbey. No, to the bloody straight. Christ, you've got to concentrate.
Still, even Jeremy was encouraging.
Hammond, your speed is not only good, but it's consistent now, mate. Excellent.
I settled down for the night shift. And then...
Bollocks. Guys, I've binned it.
So will it move under its own power?
I'd say it was game over.
Steve and his magicians can't get this fixed.
I'm sorry, lads. I'm sorry. Have you found out yet? Did I take somebody else off? Can you find out?
It was White Mosner.
Oh, bloody hell. I couldn't eat anything more expensive, could I?
We've got to clear this. Right, everyone who's not involved, get back.
The wishbone was broken, the disc brake was ruined, 2 wheels were smashed, the left headlight was shattered, the door was caved in, and the engine wouldn't turn over.
If the boys can mend it, and if the scrutineer says the car is safe to go out again, you may use it again. So you're not out of the race yet.
As the car was being fixed, we watched the onboard footage to see how I'd managed to hit a £500,000 Mosler that was fighting for the lead.
You thought there was only one car there because it's just a blur of light. It goes through, you move over, and there's someone else there. Yeah. And it sure as hell wasn't your fault, because I thought I hit the 944 doing exactly the same thing on the pit straight. This is a shot I've just organised of Richard Hammond after the crash. Gun round.
A portrait.
Cheers.
It took nearly 3 hours to get the car running again, by which time we were stone dead last. Only one man could get us back in contention. The field was now spread out, but in the next 3 hours, the Stig climbed 8 places. Then, when it was my turn, the fog came. I was completely blind. Nora.
Because the visibility had slowed James to a crawl, I thought I could get away with some fog-based japery.
Bad news is your jokes just have me straight off.
Eventually, the fog became so thick, the race was halted. And when it resumed, we were in the grey light of a summer dawn, when the drivers are all a bit dopey, as James demonstrated.
It would probably be rude to point out to him that he's pulled up in next door's pit.
James stops in front of them.
Oh, sorry.
This is the wrong pit, guys.
Oh, well, never mind, it's close enough.
Next door's pit was home to the Saxondale team, who were using a diesel BMW like ours. After the calamities, they were now our main rivals. As Jeremy G'd up the capacity crowd,
Do a Mexican wave!
the Stig made mincemeat of him. But then, 20 minutes later, disaster. The front splitter, which helps with aerodynamics, had come off. And there was a monumental fuel leak.
It was down on power. He's 5 seconds a lap slow. Then the splitter fell off that we put on.
Yeah.
Told James.
Detachable.
Yeah.
That's if they do that, that's a feature.
The Stig stayed at the wheel, so after the leak was fixed, he could go out again. And even though the missing splitter was ruining the handling, nothing was going to stop him. Nothing.
Right now, at this very moment, computers tell us the Stig is having a wee in the car. And I'm next.
This speeded the Stig up even more.
Okay, it's now exactly 12 o'clock, as you can see, midday, 4.5 hours left to run. The Stig's work is done. He's got us into third in class with the third fastest diesel. And now it's all up to Hammond and then me. Should feel okay. The brakes have come off. It's just sheared a bolt.
Nice!
With the splitter coming off, the fuel leak, and now this, it was clear our little Trojan was starting to fall apart. It was also down on power, and with no front splitter, the handling wasn't great either.
The car doesn't feel as fast as it felt last night. Even I can tell something's wrong. Oh, that Aston Martin just span out in front of me.
And having been up for 30 hours, I nearly followed him.
Concentrate. I'm losing my concentration. Where are bollocks?
To wake myself up, I organised a little present for Jeremy.
Having a pee right now. Oh.
At the end of Richard's stint, we were still third in class, but I knew it would be hard to stay there.
The problem is that the Saxondale one, that silver 330, the one like ours, is 30 laps behind. We're going to lose 5 laps in this next pit stop. They've got their quick driver in there against me. I'm telling you, in 3 hours driving, they're going to be right up my back bottom.
So, this was it, the final stint. I was tired out, I was sitting in a puddle of wee, the car was sick, and we had our main rivals bearing down on us.
Please, car. Please make it to the end of this race. I beg of you.
To stay in third, Jeremy had to drive fast, but there was a problem with that.
Tyres. He's got to do 2 hours 20 minutes, yeah?
Yes.
I did that to these tyres. It's absolutely trash. He's got to last 2 hours and 20 minutes on the same tyres.
Jeremy, because there's no front splitter, there's no downforce at the front.
And it's tearing the tyres to bits.
So that we didn't need to waste time with another pit stop, Jeremy had to preserve his tyres. Unfortunately, though, this was Jeremy.
Yeah! Please don't be cross with me if that last lap was a bit quick.
If he's just at a 24, those will not last 2 hours, let alone 2:20.
Just to let you know, your presentation.
You're going to be shredding those tyres.
Sadly, he was too busy racing Team Saxondale to listen.
And I've got him! Took him on the inside of Stowe. I'm in caught.
Jeremy, it's Richard. I know you're busy. Tell us about the tyres. Do they feel okay?
I've got Saxondale up my trumpet. I got a mystic here. Whoa! God.
Jeremy had destroyed the tyres.
Just heard from Steve, we have a tyre expert in the pit lane. He's looked at the other tyres and says yours will last about another 3 minutes.
We had to get him in. Saxondale would rack up 5 laps while our tyres were changed. But on fresh rubber, Jeremy could now get the hammer down.
Update, Saxondale responding, 2:24.
Get rubbing your rotaries, boys! Whoa, God! I just tried to take the jag on the inside of the corner, it went badly wrong.
If you fall off in the last half hour of the race, there's no recovery service, which means that's the end of your race.
Happily, we got some luck. The Saxondale team had hit problems, so now all I had to do was nurse the car home.
Come on, car. Please make it. This has been one of the best Top Gear companions of the lot. A repmobile, transformed in 10 days into a racer.
15 minutes to go.
Starting to get a bit sloppy now, we're getting a few mistakes.
5 minutes to go, and for the first time I felt this pea-stained David among Goliaths was actually going to finish, and finish well.
It wants to make the finishing line, and I'm just willing it on. It's there! Just brilliant. That's absolutely epic.
Seg 4 F2 play.
Can I just say, that That was the hardest thing we've ever done. Being nice to each other for 24 hours.
Oh, I know, but you know when I pulled out the picture and you said, good luck, mate, I nearly crashed.
Oh, and I felt dirty saying it, mate. It was wrong.
Still, we ended up coming third in our class.
Out of 5.
Out of 5, yes, and we finished 39th out of 46. Partly, actually, because you drove so slowly.
Oh, now come on a minute.
Actually, hang on. You risked us not finishing at all by driving like an idiot in that last stint.
No, but wait, we would have finished 10th. Mathematical certainty, if you hadn't hit that Mosler, we would have been 10th.
You said it wasn't my fault.
I was being nice. I didn't mean it.
Hey, this is more like it, isn't it? Normal service has been resumed.
It has, yes, and it will continue next week. Oh, no, not next week, because billiards is on again. But we'll be back in 2 weeks with the Top Gear Awards, so we'll see you then. Thanks for watching. Good night.